What is going on? Welcome into the channel. So happy to have you here always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to look at your energy via the tarot, astrology, and any channeled messages that come through. So let's get into this. We are finishing up Cancer season. We're about to head into Leo season. So exciting. We've had a couple retrogrades. So Saturn just went into retrograde beginning of the week. Mercury is going to follow at the end of the week, and Neptune and Pluto are already in retrograde. So retrogrades really encourage us to slow down, take a beat. You really take our time as we're moving through, processing through different situations, dynamics in our life. Neptune and Saturn in Aries in retrograde are really challenging us to connect a little bit more with who we are. And I feel like this is specifically related to how we trust ourselves, how we trust our instincts when we're picking up, sensing things that are going on in our environment. How much are we willing to really kind of pay attention what we're picking up and do something about it, or find out more information, right? Kind of vet the things that we're dealing with. Pluto in retrograde really challenges us to make changes. And with Pluto moving into Aquarius end of last year, it's going to be there for the next 20 years. And it's giving us an opportunity to kind of switch up how we're interacting, engaging with our life, connecting with things that actually honor our heart a little bit more, things that might not seem so normal or maybe off the beaten path type vibe, but things that like we feel like are really going to honor and support our life, our mental, emotional, our success, etc. And that's really what Spirit wants us to align with right now. So we're kind of in the throes of making changes accordingly. It's never easy. That's why I like to start these readings off with an energy cleansing. Just set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out blocks, obstacles, limitations we might be coming into. It's a really good time to set your own intention for the reading as well, Leo, especially if you have something on your heart, on your mind, something you would like Spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give those over. Be open to receive. It's a really great way to personalize these collective readings. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your personal situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you are just looking for more of that realignment of self, mind, body, soul, I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. When we're aligned in self, when we know who we are, what we want, that really is when we're manifesting our happiness, our abundance, our success, our fulfillment, and we all deserve that, right? I would love to help support in whatever way possible, Leo. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so that we may see and understand the messages clearly. Hot. And help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, and my love. All right, Leo. Feels like you're a little nervous about something this week. Usually you don't really question yourself. You have a lot of natural confidence, natural exuberance, but it does look like you've come into something recently that is challenging you. That's kind of challenging that part of you that is used to being like okay with how things are. I feel like we've kind of had this a little bit in your readings lately. Please don't take it as me trying to be hard on you at all. This really, what I'm hearing for you specifically, it goes back to that value of just slowing down. That can be really, really hard for fire energy because it's like on to the next thing always. And I love that vibe. I am not the most patient person. I love to have maximum efficiency, minimum effort, but it's basically slowing you down so that you can see this value of cause and effect. And sometimes that can be a really scary place to be in. That can be a really uncomfortable place to be in. Again, because like it's in those spaces that we're slowing down, that we're like moving a little more intentionally, we end up seeing some of our flaws or our deficits. And it's not comfortable. Unfortunately, again, don't hate me for saying this, but Leo energy has a really hard time with being wrong. And so there's this value of, here's the thing, it's not a matter of right and wrong. And that's where we can get into, maybe it's semantics, but it's this value of like, it's about learning to do things in a creative and unique way. Not everything is linear. Not everything is this, like to me sometimes, the approach can be a little bit black and white. This could just be because you feel very specifically about something, a belief, a value. You want to hold fast to whatever is important to you. And I agree with that 100%. It also is showing that, like I said, there's other ways to do it. There's other ways to do it. And to me, it feels like this different approach is actually bringing some type of protection that is needed. Right now, there is not awareness. This awareness and protection is being blocked for you. And that's why cause and effect is really going to be highlighted for you this week. If you do this, then this happens. And it's helping you. Here's the thing. I think off the bat, I believe this was our energy in the weekly. Check it out if you're interested. But it is all about how you're manifesting, right? Because like I said, not everything is the same. Not everything is black and white. Sometimes we do have to find creative solutions, approaches to people and situations, even if it's a little annoying, even if it forces us to humble ourselves a little bit. It's actually delivering something that I feel like is more beneficial to you in the long run. I think it's hard to see it on this side because there's this part of you that's seeing it in such this specific way, maybe a little bit rigid right now. And this is happening a lot in the astrology because our ego is taking a little bit of a beating with the change that's happening, not really wanting to do the work or the healing or whatever. Feeling, I don't know, something is calling you, but you're not sold. Like, I feel like you have an idea or a thought that's starting to take seed, that's starting to plant, that you're starting to play around with. It feels like this is something that you do want to have manifest. But again, I don't think it's so linear. I think that there is some type of creative approach that needs to be looked at or contemplated because it feels like you don't even really, you're not really aware of this quite yet. You're approaching something very rationally, very analytically, but someone's not on the same page. They're not on the same page. And it's really interesting because you're holding tight to that sword. I don't know. Like, again, you're really standing by your thoughts, your beliefs. It feels like someone's challenging you a little bit around that. We have a king and queen of swords. Someone that you do have connection with or maybe does have the ability to challenge you. Okay, we're getting ace of wands, ace of swords. I think that, okay, what is this showing you? Conflict. Ugh. Let's see. someone has a problem with how things are moving. It looks like, again, and this is where the problem with the creative solution is happening, because someone doesn't want it. They want it to be in their hands, like they're the one that's kind of dictating how things go. And I feel like for you, you're not interested. You're not interested, right? There's this Seven of Swords energy where like both parties are mirroring each other, essentially, is what this is saying. And I feel like this is kind of where things get messy in this dynamic. One person wants it one way, they have the Ace of Wands, you have the Ace of Swords. So someone's like, let's find a new approach. Well, I think we should talk it out first. I think we need to like put all the pieces on the table, right? Like, to me, this feels like you're asking for truth, things up front, and this person doesn't want to give it to you, right? They're willing to talk, but it only makes them more uncomfortable. It only makes them more difficult. And here, maybe this is not the end of the road in this. It doesn't really look like it, because whatever this is yes, it's a continuation of something that's already transpired, but it's also a realization of like why things have been playing out in the way that they have. And again, it's like thoughts, perceptions are very similar, and to some capacity, maybe you guys can agree on something, but when it's time to actually agree, there's conflict around it, because either there's too much water under the bridge. There's this question of like, can we really work together? Can we really be friends? Can we really have harmony, balance, whatever you're needing? It's from one another in order to make this work, right? 1 + 1 = 3. That value of like, okay, keep trying pops out. Again, that makes a lot of sense, because again, the initial approach is not working. I feel like both parties know that. I feel like to some capacity, both people are willing to hash things out, evolve into your complexity. You are more. So recognizing that like, just because something doesn't work doesn't mean it's wrong and bad. Oftentimes there are multiple options. Right now, Uranus is in Gemini. So it's asking us to, and also Jupiter has been tensely aspected to Saturn, to Neptune. It just moved into Cancer not too long ago. It's been there for a minute. But this is really talking about how like our success isn't necessarily coming in the way that we're anticipating, that we're expecting it. And that's kind of my advice to both, whatever you're dealing with. It's like, it might not be how you're thinking about it right off the bat, but it does kind of look like there are opportunities to evolve, to be creative, to kind of take that quantum jump, meaning that like it doesn't have to be A + B = C, right? Maybe there's you can get to D. So I don't know, sorry, that was a really bad analogy. But there are other options. And I feel like that's, let me look into this a little bit more. Okay, this is facing your fear. Like, to me, this is knowing that you are protected. I don't know, something about this. Let's see what this is before I close this out. Because this is kind of telling you, maybe this is a messy situation that you can't necessarily get rid of, that you can't shake. And so because you can't shake it, it's encouraging you to find different solutions, right? We have Page of Wands energy, 6 of Cups energy. Yeah, okay. Here's the thing. I feel like there is a lot of water under this bridge, is what I'll say. And it kind of looks like whatever is being, like I was saying, that need to have a creative solution, I think is important. I think that's kind of the forefront, the overarching energy this week. I do think that there is a disconnect from what the end result wants to be or needs to be from both ends. And that's where it gets a little dicey. That's where don't give someone a hall pass just because you know them or just because, you know, you've known them for a long time. There is a little bit of someone needing to prove themselves. Perhaps that's why this King of Swords is on the defensive, because they don't feel like they need to. But it's also saying, like I said, you can still find a creative way to get the answers that you need, even if someone is a little bit resistant. And I feel like that's kind of the moral of the story. You're playing around with what those ideas are this week, Leo. So I hope it goes well. Thank you so much for your time, energy, always. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I'd love to hear, or just say, hey, share in a little love, a little TLC. I so appreciate all the love, all the support to the channel. No, I'm sending it back your way.